watching the YouTubes or if you are on Spotify, I just got my hair done and it looks great. I'm getting ready for the San Diego Tattoo Convention that is happening this weekend. Might be a different weekend for you when this podcast is recorded. And also getting ready for my Ibiza trip. My assistant's making fun of me because I had a Spanish conquistador lover and he spoke in the very Spanish accent, so with all the fuzz. So yeah, I'm going to Ibiza for a women's business trip, which I am so excited about. I love, love, love community. Community is everything to me, and especially lately because, you know, sometimes we find ourselves really stuck. Like we find ourselves stuck in whatever it is that is going on in life. And it's funny because I was like thinking about this podcast episode and I was like, you know what? Bravery is a way of life. And I wanted to call this podcast Bravery is a Way of Life because it truly is brave to choose the uncomfortable way, to be with the thoughts, to be with the feelings, to let go of the thoughts and allow them to transmute and integrate within you so that you can move on to freedom. We always, like, when as a meditation teacher and someone that practices meditation so much and somatic healing, you know, this is a big part of my practice. This is a big part of being in my way of life, is that whenever I'm having something crunchy come up, which we'll get into some stories today about how that's really entering into my life a lot. And we come up against it, we look at it, we really get clear with it. We don't even make it a thought. We don't turn it into something. We just allow it to be there like a cloud and let it go by and allow it to integrate within us. Because the more that we try to make it mean something, every time I think about that event, I will be putting myself back into that feeling and losing the present moment, which the present moment is the only moment that really is. And so when it comes to meditation, and the presence is just one of those huge practices of everyday life. It is a way of being. And I have lost it. I meditate every day, and my meditations vary from quantum downloads from the universe. What am I channeling in? I normally get a lot of visuals, and I hear a lot of words. I'll hear even sometimes full sentences on things I need to do. I'll have an intentional question that I ask, like, what am I meant to say today? What am I meant to do today? You know, how am I meant to impact the world today? And so these are like some of the questions I'll ask. Or if I'm going through something that I'm healing, like I'm crunchy, like I'm feeling disappointed, or I'm feeling jealous, or I'm feeling angry, it's like I allow myself to feel those things. I don't reject them because I don't want to reject myself. And so lately, my meditations have been a lot on my launch and all the things that are happening in my launches, and, you know, this convention that I'm going to, and there's another convention I'm doing in Canada, Calgary, Canada as well, and I'm getting ready for. I'm also doing an in-person retreat style seminar in New York in October. So there's like a bunch of things happening. Plus I have, you know, tattoo artists coming in and guest spotting in the next week or so. And then all of September, I'm fully booked out with lots of people coming through. Plus I'm traveling a ton. So it's like, you know, now that I'm naming it out loud, it's no wonder haven't been present, and it's no wonder everything has been kind of feeling a little bit more stressful than necessary. And so it's one of those things where I haven't been super present with the thing that I'm doing. And instead with everything that I'm doing, it's almost like everything that's getting done is just a disappointment, or it's not working, quote unquote, or people are not doing what I expect, or something of this nature. And I'm just noticing this little kind of, I could feel this tired energy within me. And I can also feel this sense of crankiness, even like little things just bothering me. And so I'm like, you know what? Like, I really need to sit with this. I need to get present. And in the last few days, I've been really getting present. And everything that I do, I'm intentional and present, and then once it's done, I move on. I don't think about it anymore. I'm off. I'm over it. Like, you know, for instance, when it comes to my relationship with social media, it's like I'm off. I leave it alone, and you know, it's done. Or if it comes to my relationship with my tattoo designs, once it's done, it's done. We have another time we check it in. Or once it comes to like my relationship with my own meetings or with work or with my own things, with my dog, you know, I'm trying to be really intentional with the way that I move and moving a little bit slower, because I'm noticing that I'm moving so fast, I'm not even enjoying the things that I'm doing. And instead, I'm making the things that I think are not working mean something about me. And I know that for a lot of us, this isn't something new, because not only do I see the synchronicities within my own spaces, InkSpired Academy, my one-on-ones there, my students, my members, my VIP inner circle artists, I have been noticing this sense of disappointment. I've been noticing the sense of like, you know, there's a lot of energy around things not working, things feeling hard, frustration. And what's so interesting about this is because I know that within me, that the reason why things happen to me and the reason why things happen to you is because you are meant to move through it, transmute it, and utilize it as power so that you can help others do the same thing in their own way. So I take the things that are happening inside of me as a way of looking at it as it happening through me for the collective. Because I know that if I am the type of person who says that I live a balanced life, I've got to actually create the action around that. And balance to me doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Everything is perfectly half and half. Everything's perfectly 50%. Actually, balance to me means presence. Balance to me means freedom. So the present moment is not meant for you to have happiness. You know, when people think they look at meditation and they're like, okay, I'm just meant, when I get into the present moment, when I clear the thoughts out of my head, I'm going to be present, I'm going to be happy. But then they say, oh my gosh, how can I clear these thoughts out of my head? Well, to be honest, to clear the thought out of your head is another thought. So the only way that we can actually allow thoughts to just roll by is just to be the observer, is just to notice them and not make meaning to them. And even with a feeling, we don't create a story around the feeling that's happening within the body. We just allow the raw feeling to be felt, as opposed to creating a story that we get hooked onto, and then allowing us to go back to that story every time something like this happens, every time a cancellation happens, every time your social media post doesn't do well, every time you have a launch and you don't have a lot of people sign up, every time you open your books and again, like you don't have a lot of people sign up, like a launch. It's very much of this nature where there's a feeling of disappointment, frustration, you're feeling like you're doing all the things and you don't see anything happening. And we have to remember that it's not just what you are doing, it's who you are being in the doing. Who are you while you're doing the thing? Are you the type of person that's going to fake it? Are you the type of person that's like, I'm going to fake being okay, I'm going to put myself out there and feel okay, and then every time I post and look at it, it's going to be disappointing and I'm just going to be disappointed? That's not real. That's inauthentic. And the thing that I have been downloading from the universe recently, and has also been validated through not only my mentors and community and through, other people around me, is that right now, the collective in general is frustrated. The collective in general feels disappointed, feels like they're confused, and feel like they don't know which direction they're meant to go in. They have an idea, but they're not sure. And so what's happening is that the collective, the universe, God, source, wisdom, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is literally asking the people that are saying, I want freedom, I want spiritual awakening, I want spiritual enlightenment, are the people that are meant to rise. those people that decide that they want that spiritual enlightenment, this is what we're getting. All of us are getting it. For whatever reason, I truly believe that 2023 is meant to be a quantum restructuring year. And I knew that the moment I entered in from January 1st, if you've listened to any of my podcasts in January, I was like, I am in a quantum restructuring phase. And this was in my business. But I had no idea it meant that I was going to be in a restructuring phase within myself. And so what I'm noticing is that all of this confusion, all of this frustration, all of this disappointment, all of this idea around, I'm doing all the things, I don't understand why it's not working type of vibes, is because the universe is asking us to step into more of our authenticity. The universe is asking us to rise to the occasion. We think we're being authentic, we are not. There is a deeper level of authenticity, and this deeper level is quite uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable because the present moment is uncomfortable. That's why it's so hard for most people. We love to stay in the thoughts. We love to stay in our head. We love to stay in the dream. And then when that dream is no longer serving us, we get into the negative thoughts. We're like, I want to get out of this negative thought. And then we perpetuate the negative thinking. So instead, it's meant to, yes, present moment means freedom. It doesn't mean happiness. You can be present and be uncomfortable. You can be present and be heartbroken. You could be present and be disappointed. But it means that you are present. And in the present moment is freedom. Freedom to feel. Freedom to dwell. Freedom to feel joy. Freedom to feel free. Like, that is the whole point of presence. It's freedom. And that's the whole point of life in general. We all want freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, just freedom of choice, freedom of space, whatever we want to do. The end result is to feel free. And yet we don't take the time to slow down to get to the present moment where freedom lies. And so this is what the universe channeled through me today, through my meditation, because today's meditation, I was like, you know what? I am not going to ask for anything. I'm not going to ask what I need to say, what I need to do. I'm just going to channel through. I'm going to be present. I'm going to literally follow my breath, moving in and out of my body, breathing in love and breathing out gratitude. And that's what I'm going to do for 45 minutes. And it brought me to tears because I just felt so free. But also I had to move through so much stuck emotion within me because I started to notice that I was going through my days with this numbness, with this sense of just autopilot. And whenever I get stuck in autopilot, I always notice that I'm like, okay, the fact that I'm not having massive feelings means I'm trying to stay away from feeling something. Like if I'm not feeling pure joy, I'm not feeling like this happy gratitude Reese, then I am trying to avoid feeling something because there is beauty in depth. And what I mean by that is that you cannot see true beauty without some shit. You know what I mean? Like you can't see true beauty without feeling the depth of other feelings, the entire polar opposite of that beauty. That's why we call it polarity, the law of polarity. It's like I am going to feel the depth of beauty when I feel the depth of pain. And when I can move myself and be brave because I choose to be brave as a way of life, then I'm going to move through the feeling of the uncomfortable, of the pain. And when I transmute that feeling on the other side, I'm going to feel real beauty, real happiness, real joy, intrinsic joy. And I'll be better for it because why? I am growing. And when I grow, everybody around me gets to grow. And so I'm constantly coming back to my motto of I'm doing this for the collective, that I am brave for the collective, that I am going to show up more as me for the collective, for myself for sure. But when we put it outside of us and we make it a we, identity, like a we situation, when there's no difference between you and me, we're just one, that's when real growth, real moves start happening. We go from victim consciousness to manifestation consciousness to surrender consciousness to creator consciousness. You know, a lot of, the victim consciousness is everything's happening to me. I feel this way, and then trying to avoid, I know I shouldn't feel this way, and we're trying to logic our way out of it when there's no logic to a feeling. You can't combat a feeling in the body through the mind. You have to go into the body, accept the feeling, alchemize the feeling, and that's when you integrate it and you become realigned to the path that you are meant to take, and that's when you feel true beauty after. So I was having a lot of conversations today where people were feeling stuck, and even in myself I was feeling a little stuck, and I was just like, man, I'm really moving. This is hard. And it's great because I was reading one of my diaries from this time last year, and I noticed I was having a similar situation happen, and it was hard. And I was like, wow, this is a pattern. This is something I'm used to. This is not new. I think it's new. It's not new, actually. And it really made me laugh because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing the same thing I do over and over again and expecting different results. Of course, no wonder. I'm literally trying to repeat my life of last year because that's what I know. I don't know any other way. And so the only other way I know how to negate the pattern is presence. Presence is power. You look at it from also a perspective of not only just being in the moment, but also your presence of being. You think about Beyonce, for instance. Beyonce doesn't have to explain herself or anything like that. She's just powerful, just standing up on that stage and owning it. She doesn't have to even sing yet. She's just standing there and you're just like, that's the power of presence. When you are trying to control everything outside of you, control and micromanage the people, how they see you, then that energy is felt and it's repelling. But when you just own who the fuck you are and stand in all of your unfuckwithable glory in your presence and just own it, all your confidence, all of your imperfect perfections, like all of these things that you believe about yourself, but just owning it. Could you imagine what kind of presence that is? It's like, I have nothing to hide energy. When you have nothing to hide, nobody has anything to say. And if they do, it doesn't mean anything because you're like, well, I've already said that and I've already felt those things and I own my shit. So there we go. That's bravery. That's living a life of bravery. It's bravery as a way of life. And this is where we get to start moving. Oh my God, I can feel my body feeling so much better for just being so honest on this podcast right now. This is why I've always loved doing podcasting. It's just me riffing off into the world and really just allowing the feelings to transmute and alchemize within me, because I am in pursuit of what feels fucking good. I am in pursuit of what I want to move from a place of going towards desire. I don't want to live my life in avoidance of pain. And I've been noticing that within me, and I've been noticing trying to avoid the disappointment, trying to avoid why something's not working. Why am I doing all the things and it's not working? And I'm like, Reese, you literally teach this. How would you coach yourself through this? How would you coach your team, your VIP, your students, your members? How would you talk to them in this? And I thought about that and I was like, oh yeah. It's who you are being that informs the strategy. Your energy informs the strategy, not the other way around. And that is why when I was going back over InkSpired Academy and going back over all of the modules, because I'm about to, I think this podcast will be when it's just launched. So if you're not in it, you should be in it. But I was going through the modules and I was like, fuck, It's, I'm like, wow, this is really juicy. And I'm almost finding the version of myself that created it, re-teaching me and re-reminding me what it takes to truly create the balance and ease within your business and your life. And I was so like, oh my God, this shit is good. This is so relieving, And I was like, yes, I want to lead from a space of love, from a space of desire, from a space of knowing that what I have right now is fucking amazing, but I desire more of the energy. Not in avoidance of, God, I don't want to feel disappointment, so I'm going to continue to do something different, the same. Or, God, I just don't want to feel like failure, so I'm not going to do the thing at all. I don't want to be in avoidance of fear. I want to live a brave life. I want to live a life where I wake up every single day and think, how good can it get? How good can it get? Can I double down on this? When it's going so well, can I double down? Or when it's working, can I shift and be more fulfilled in something else? If it's working, let's say we're shifting and we're like, God, I don't want to let this thing go. I don't want to let the shop go. I don't want to let this go. I've identified as this person for so long. Can I have the bravery to lean into the unknown? Or instead of avoiding the unknown, it's like saying, life, how can you surprise me? This is a practice every single day. Everybody has magic when they have the ability to see beyond their current state, but to also be so present with it at the same time. We get to creator consciousness when we realize there's no duality. And right now, a lot of us, especially a lot of us that are listening to this podcast, are a lot less in victim consciousness, which is third dimensional. They're more in the manifestation consciousness and surrender consciousness, which is fourth dimensional. But manifestation is still egoic. It's still like, wow, I'm doing all these things. It's all the material items that I'm manifesting into my life more and more and more. But we're realizing that we are being asked to rise. So if you're feeling the feelings of like confusion, of feeling like you need to move, but you don't know which direction to take, or you're feeling frustrated because things don't feel like they're working, or you're feeling disappointment because you're trying and trying and trying and you feel like it's not doing anything and you're not getting anywhere and you really feel defeated in that moment. This is where the universe is asking you to be brave, asking you to rise. It's asking you to go from manifestation consciousness to surrender consciousness, because you are not doing this alone. In manifestation consciousness, what we're doing is we're thinking with the ego. We're like, wow, I manifested all of these material items. I'm so stoked. And then we continue to do and do and do and do. And what it means is like, I got to have the perfect energy. I can't think negative thoughts. I got to do all the journaling. I got to do all the things. I got to show up in this way. I got to ask these questions. And it's like we're kind of going into a heavy wounded masculine energy in order to dictate how our spiritual alignment goes. And I'm this way. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a high achiever when it comes to everything. So even in my spirituality, I find myself being, oh, wow, I am really trying to control how my spiritual enlightenment is going to go. I'm really trying to control this. I've done all the work. I've done all this stuff. Give me my prize. And then I'm like, oh, wow, you're not going to give me a prize. Actually, what's happening, the ebb, the disappointment, the feelings, the raw feelings that are happening within the body that feel truly uncomfortable, that's actually the gift. And whatever happens, the disappointment is for the collective. It's for all of humanity. It's for the entire evolution of humanity. So in order for me to move from the egoic mindset of like, I'm doing all the things to, fuck, I know I'm doing everything, and I know the gift is in the ebb. And although I know I will say that in hindsight, how can I just look at this present moment as the gift now, instead of waiting a year from now and then looking back and being like, actually, that was really good for me. How can I just know it's good for me now? And how can I also not dwell on it so much and just let it alchemize within me? Because when I don't create a story around it, it doesn't stay stuck in my body anymore. It leaves my body for something new to happen. But until I can create the space for something new to come to me, it's going to be this way for a while. And in order to feel safe, you have to trust. So that's the surrender, because you are a co-creator with the creator. You are one with the creator. You're a branch off. You're literally a direct link to creator. So you are a part of the creator. This is your vessel, your message, your mission, your movement, your dharma, your soul's purpose, in other words. That's all unique to you. And until we can even go further into the authenticity, and not just in the online spaces, I'm talking about to yourself. Like, you go online, we'll just utilize this as a great example. You go online acting all happy, hunky-dory, and then you get off the line and you're feeling exhausted and annoyed and disappointed and frustrated. I'm doing all the things. I don't get why it's not working. I don't get why more people aren't booking with me. I don't get this. I don't get that. And when we're even more frustrated, and then we post again, and then we post again, and we're like, it's not working. And I'm almost trying to perpetuate the fact that it's not working because I'm stuck in the energetic of creating the story of it not working. And instead of being brave and owning the fact that it's like, I'm trying not to feel disappointed. I know I shouldn't feel disappointed. Like, I know this and I know that. And that's what happens with a lot of spiritual, humans on this path, is that we get to the point of our spirituality where we're like, I know I should know better. I know I should know better. And it's like, actually, the thing is that you keep saying you should know better, but yet you're continuing to reject yourself. And on the spiritual path, there is no room for rejection of self. So let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to the beginning. I know I shouldn't feel like this. If we're should and shouldn'ting our lives, that's where the semaphore is happening. That's the sign. It's like, oh, I just said should or shouldn't. If I even utilize those two words at all in a sentence, I'm like, okay, I got to get out of the mind. I need to get back in my body. And so this is where we move. We're like, okay, let me go back. Why am I trying to logic a feeling that's happening in the body? I can't utilize the mind to combat a feeling within the body. And when we think of combat, we're like, I'm at war with it. That's literally what you are doing by saying, I know I shouldn't feel this way. Instead of rejecting ourselves, we accept ourselves and we alchemize it. This is something I talk a lot about in Unfuckwithable. It's the 5 A's. It's getting aware of it. It's accepting the feeling. It's alchemizing the feeling. It's realignment. And I don't know why I forgot the 5th A. And it's action. That's right. And then it's action. So then we take aligned action. So we do those 5 things. That's literally what we do whenever we're feeling a raw feeling. And I don't even like to say negative feeling, because no feeling is bad or good. No feeling is positive or negative. It's just, we just like certain feelings over others. And the happy feelings just shoot endorphins, the other ones don't. So it's like the other ones shoot cortisol and stress and adrenaline, and it causes us to move in a direction where we're avoiding pain. That's the fight or flight within our brain. We're trying to move in a direction that feels really good, but sometimes that excitement, fear, we only feel the fear. We're like, I feel excited, but I also feel fear. So whenever I think of the word fear, I'm going to move away from it. But when you feel excited and fearful, that's the green light to go, baby. You have to choose to move. Nobody's going to help you move. Nobody's going to force you to move. Nobody's going to tell you to move. Everybody's going to be like, well, do what you feel is best. It's like, well, I feel excited and fearful. Like, what the fuck? I don't know what to do is best. I feel nervous and scared and excited and holy shit mode. I don't know what to do. It's best. Whenever I feel those feelings at the same time, that's a green light to go. So nobody's going to tell you to go. You have to go. You have to be brave, right? If we're going to have bravery as a way of life, then what would the brave thing be? What would a brave person do in this moment? Who would be the you that would be brave in this moment? You know, it's more important to know who you are over what you want. Because the wants may or may not push you over the edge. But by knowing that I eat fear for breakfast kind of vibes, or bravery is my way of life. Bravery is saying no when you mean to say no. Bravery is saying yes when you mean to say yes. Bravery is jumping before knowing that there's a net at the bottom and just trusting. And that's the whole point, is that we're trying to move. Bravery is surrender. That is really tough for most people, but it's the way to do it. Holy moly, we are in the countdown. We're talking like 7 days before InkSpired Academy is here. So if you, in just 7 days, intentional artists just like you are about to embark on a journey toward healing and transmuting their shadows and limiting beliefs that are keeping you from attracting the income and impact you truly know you are made for. They are about to elevate and have fun with social media marketing and messaging strategies to truly call in those soulmate clients. Up-leveling your visual branding and your content. Yes, we are going to get into taking photos of your tattoos, learning how to do that in a way where people can actually visualize themselves wearing it. That's a vibe. We're going to connect to source wisdom to truly unearth who you really are, so you can show up in the online space bold and confident, baby. The bold and creative confident that you are. And we're going to be creating aligned structures within your business to create more balance. We are trying to balance the masculine of doing and the feminine of being in your life and in your business, so that you can create a sustainable and scalable brand. If this is something that you've been feeling the call for, you've been hearing me talk about it, you're like, yes, I need this, it's time. This is the time. I don't know when I'll be opening up InkSpired again. I'm not even sure if I'll do it again. We'll see what happens. But today is the day. If you're feeling a vibe, click the link in the show notes. I've got you. We still have early bird off. If you heard this podcast, if we don't have early bird off, which is $333 off, plus $666 worth of bonus items, which is my launching course booked out, which I help you learn how to create urgency within your book's opening and creating launch strategies so that people are getting onto your emailing list and booking day of. That's what we want. That's how we want to create movement. We want to create urgency. You'll get that also for free. So it's $999 in like bonuses and money off. If that's no longer happening, if you tell me you listen to this podcast, you will get it. I love you so much. Now let's get back to it. Surrender as a strategy. I teach this in InkSpired Academy a ton. It's like surrender is a part of your strategy in your business. To surrender is to honor the co-creative experience that you have with spirit. You honor it. You do not honor it when you try to logic your way out of your feelings, when you try to overdo, overwork, overwhelm, underpaid, when you try to, discount things from a disempowered place. I only just want people to get this. I only just want people to do this. When you are seeking validation outside of yourself, you have decided to put your power into someone else's hands instead of putting your power into the universe and allowing that to completely guide you. My spiritual counselor said something really profound today. She was like, your decisions are a millisecond in the 3-hour-long play that is the whole collective consciousness. So that is the entire living, breathing entity of all the things happening within the universe. So everything is synchronistic. Everything happening right now is setting off a domino effect for something else to happen. If this thing is happening to you and it doesn't feel good, quote unquote, in the body, it means that it's meant to happen for something else better to happen. And I truly believe that. I've had a lot of things happen in my lifetime to know that this is true. I've had a lot of shitty things happen, you know, from a child all the way up to now. You know, I've had things happen where it's like, that doesn't even seem fair. That's totally out of my control. But I look back and I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be the person I am without that. And yes, you know, we're talking about child abuse and sexual assault. So, you know, I do understand a thing or two about things being unfair and not feeling fair. You know, when you're really young and feeling like, what's going on here? But at the end of the day, it's like I look at myself as a woman now and I'm like, wow, like I wouldn't be me if those things didn't happen. I wouldn't be the person I am today if certain things didn't happen. That didn't make any sense, that still don't make any sense. It sucks those things happen in this world. It's not fair. They don't deserve it. I didn't attract that. I didn't magnetize that to me. No, I didn't do any of that. It's just shit. Shit happens. But I see it as it happening through me for the collective consciousness. And you always hear survivor stories or things like this and how profound, whatever type of survivor story it might be. Not only just, you know, sexual assault or child abuse or whatever it might be in that capacity. It could be anything. I was reading a book on a woman who fell 10,000 feet from a plane and landed in the jungle. And it just so happened that she was the only person on the planet that could probably survive living in the jungle for 11 days because she just so happened to be the daughter of 2 scientists who liked to live in the jungle and taught her all the things since infancy on how to live in the jungle. Like how synchronistic that is. So everything happening for a reason is real. And if you don't want to make meaning to it, then it's going to be a really tough life. It's really going to be a life that feels so unfulfilling if you don't want to make meaning to it. Because you could also look at it the other way around and be like, woe is me, I'm a victim, which you are. If you are, you know, a survivor of something, you are. But you don't utilize it to weigh you down, to not rise to an occasion that the reasons why these things happen is because you're probably the only one that could have survived them. And the ones that don't survive are helping the ones that did. So we're talking about so much synchronicity in this, and this is going so deep. I listen to a lot of murder mystery podcasts with Kayla, and she's like, it's like so deep. So bravery as a way of life. This is what we get to do. We get to make meaning out of life. We get to choose our confidence. We get to choose how we want to do life. We get to choose to alchemize the feelings that are happening within the body. We get to choose that this is happening through us, not just for us, through us, for the collective consciousness and for the evolution of humanity. I get to choose that. You don't have to fucking do it. But you know what? That makes it feel so good. It makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel powerful. It makes me want to learn and engulf myself in all of the things and really transmute and embody the person that I claim I am. I don't want to claim something on Instagram saying I'm some sort of guru or whatever without having first lived it or constantly in the present moment living it now, always. And that's just being really, truly fucking honest. Like this whole episode was about me being honest. I recorded 2 episodes and deleted both of them because I was like, that's so fake. Reese, don't be fake. You're not feeling good. Don't act like you're feeling good. What a joke. If I looked in the mirror right now, could you actually admit that your name is Reese Hilburn? It's not even my real name. It's Teresa Hilburn, but I go by Reese my whole life. You know? It's like, if I looked in the mirror right now, could I say that I'm actually fully acting like me? And that is, if that's a no, then it ain't getting posted. It ain't going out. If I'm not totally in me, owning who I am in the moment, it's not happening. don't get me wrong. Sometimes my mood changes throughout the day. Like sometimes I wake up, I'm a morning person. I wake up super amazing. Like I'm like, yes, this is what I do. I'm a morning person. When it starts to get to the night, I get tired, and I'm constantly trying to push even harder. And I know that about me. I am that way. I love my job. I love working. I love educating. I wish, like, my whole world revolves around impacting thousands of people one day. And I know I will. And I know I am. I mean, how could I not with 179,000 people following me or whatever the number is, and how much engagement any post gets? We forget that just because people aren't turning over and booking with us or whatever it might be, that it doesn't mean that we're not making impact. So it is important what you're posting. And it is important to show up in your authentic self, because you have no idea who you're touching. I posted something today earlier about, clients following me for 6 months and then finally, reaching out and saying, like, I'm here for the art, but I'm booking because of the vibe. Like, that's real. I want to write that down. I should write that down. I'm here for the art, but I'm booking for the vibe. Because they get to know you through the social media and they feel like they are connected to you. And so I'm just like, yeah, I never even seen this lady before 6 months ago. But had I been like, well, none of this is working, I better just throw in the towel, maybe she never would have. Maybe I would never be able to be honored enough to tattoo her. She's a woman with double mastectomy, and she's coming to me for a tattoo and she reached out not even knowing that I do them for free. She reached out because she's like, I don't care how much it costs. I want to feel beautiful. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, by the way, I'm going to give this to you for free. And the look on her face, she was in shock. She was like, that's not why I came. And had she never reached out and been brave enough to reach out, she would have never known. She would have been like, well, I just can't afford it because I don't know. So it takes all of these tiny little movements that we make on a daily basis that create a domino effect of things happening in other people's lives to connect us all together as one. One consciousness. That is it. True creator consciousness means love. It just means openness and compassion. That's what that is. And we surrender. We surrender to acceptance. Acceptance and surrender are pretty much one and the same. I accept how I'm feeling, and I accept the disappointment, and I accept feeling like I'm doing all the things and nothing's working. And yet I get back on the horse and I continue to do my best. And my best will change every single day. It'll change with my energy. But my overall, what do I like to say? It's like my overall baseline energy is high. Like, I vibrate high because of how much I work on it. So you can move your frequency by thinking positively, but you heal your frequency by accepting who you are, and by accepting your feelings, and by accepting all of you, not just your happy thoughts. So yes, you can move your vibration to a higher vibration just by thinking positive, but you heal vibrations and you up-level your frequency when you accept all of who you are, including the thoughts you deem negative. So the moral of the story in this podcast is to choose bravery, because bravery will mean that you accept all the parts of yourself. And when we accept, we can become super present and be brave to feel the feelings that we sometimes feel really uncomfortable feeling. And when we transmute those feelings, we liberate ourselves. And freedom is always the feeling we're seeking. We're seeking freedom. We're seeking relief. Relief is freedom. And that's the goal. And when we have that level of freedom, we will attract the impact, the income, the community that we so desire. That felt good. That felt good to get off my chest. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your space. Thank you for listening. If you loved this podcast episode, please, please, please let me know in the comments. If you're feeling lit and feeling light, give me a 5-star. If you screenshot it and you send it to me, I always love to send fun gifts out to people. But I love you so much, and I hope that you have a stupendous rest of your day.